Good morning, everybody. I am going to introduce to you our new poetry unit that's just made as a self-guided unit to help you guys kind of close out the year in 8th grade with language arts, to work through poetry at a pace that works for you, and also to give you some little more selection and choice than I normally provide, because usually I just kind of pick a lot of the poetry. But I think poetry, it's more powerful when you can find stuff that you appreciate. So that's kind of the goal right now, is to have something that you can navigate a little bit at your own pace, because I think our lives at home are all quite different and unique and kind of crazy. And so I want to help you guys find, like, if it's a good week, maybe you're going to crush a bunch of these at once. And maybe you just pace it out the way I'm laying it out for you. So either way, this is the guide that I put on Google Classroom today. This is the cover page. Pretty fancy, right? Right. So that said, then here's kind of how it's going to roll. Once this video is done, it's going to go on page 2 here, so you can watch this at any point, or for those of you who are catching up at some point. But this takes us through the last 3.5, pretty much 4 weeks. Okay. So the next slide is the key slide. This is when you're in a clickable menu. I call it a playlist typically, but we'll just call it the poetry guide. And what's basically this means is that over the course of the next few weeks and by the end of the year, you're going to be doing 4 boxes. Okay. Basically, one of each of these columns. So a sense of place, a found poem, a structure and rhyme, stars poem, sort of work, and then a final project. Now, this is completely ready to roll out. You can move at your own pace, except the final project I won't release until next week. So right now you're just seeing it as coming soon. And I will let you guys, give you guys a new video on what that's going to be, because I want you to work on that as well a little bit each week. Now, all of these have a clickable picture. Okay, so we have whatever one you're choosing to work on for this week. And since this is a short week, I'm going to recommend you all maybe start with found poetry. Those probably take the least amount of time of all my tasks. But otherwise, within them is a number of tasks, whether it's annotating, analyzing, looking at some poems, but they also all have some kind of product you're going to create at the end with it. Now, again, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to reiterate, you're not doing all 6 of these icons and a final project. You are picking choice 1 or choice 2. If you really don't care and you're just like, pick for me, Mr. Becker, I put all in the choice 1s, my personal first choice, what you're having you do. They are not the same many times too. They're actually quite different tasks, but they're related. So they get to some of the same skills and things. So if you don't like what one is asking or don't get it, maybe you want to go to choice 2. Take a look at what that one's asking, and it might be quite different. The only category that's the same is structure and rhyme the stars. These are the same exact tasks, but they're with completely different poets and different poems. So in this case, find poems that mean something more to you about stars and what they're trying to write. So you get a little bit of choice with each of these, and a different group or a different task that maybe fits you better or fits your life at home better, or just the way you work. So kind of work through that. But again, you're going to end up doing 4 things total the rest of the month. So essentially look at it as 1 box a week. That's a really great way to kind of approach this. And kind of the last one, the final project, that last week isn't a full week either anyway. You'd be working on that maybe 1 day a week, and that's due on the 4th week. So that's kind of how that's going to roll. So to turn everything in is the next slide. And instead of Google Classroom, we're going to do everything in one link. It leads you to a Google form. And that is your Dropbox for the rest of the month, the rest of the year in LA. I know I'm changing it, but it helps to keep everything organized, to kind of do it at your own pace so it's not all over the place. So you're going to use this link whenever you're ready to turn something in. In that case, let me show you what that looks like. That's going to take you to this Google form, and this Google form has you put your name, your class, and then you're going to click on a drop-down menu, and you're going to pick whichever part of the assignment you completed. Okay. Notice some of these assignments have 2 parts. They have like a notes and planning, and then a final creation for the place poem. Or for Skinny Trees, here's the notes and planning. Here's your original final poem that you're going to create of your own. The only ones that don't have 2 is the blackout and the clipped collage. Okay, so that's kind of the turn-in process for this assignment. At the end, you also must say that you've saved it with me and that you've uploaded the file. It's required, so I obviously can see it and I can grade it. Now, if I go back to here, the only other thing you're going to see on here is a slide that gives you some final hints and tips, and I'm kind of talking about those right now anyway. Again, remember, only one thing for these.